This is our look at preamps. You're going to need either a mixing board or a preamp to use all of the XLR mics, be they dynamics or condenser. Today we're going to look at preamps basically. I recommend two brands basically. The Focusrite Scarlett, and here is the solo one for $110. Great entry-level preamp for the person doing what I'm doing, which is narrating, making audiobooks, doing podcasting, doing video blogging. It's also good for a musician because it will take a guitar or a keyboard and send it out through two separate tracks to the computer. Focusrite makes one with two XLR mics. That costs about $200. It's similar to this one up here from PreSonus. The PreSonus is a nice little preamp. It has two mic inputs and it also takes MIDI from MIDI keyboards. So if you're a performing artist with a keyboard, you can plug that into this here too, and it sends the signals out separately to the computer through the USB. And this one's $160. That's the advantage with preamps, is preamps will send out separate signals. If you have a 4-input preamp, it sends out 4 channels to your computer that record separately on software like Pro Tools or Cubase. And this is what's over the mixing boards, which send out a single signal to the computer. But we're going to deal basically with the preamps. These are far superior to the sound card in your computer. For $110, you get a great Focusrite. The company was founded by Rupert Neve, the legendary electronics engineer behind the great mixing boards of the 1970s. Sound City, who has so many gold records and so many Grammys, bought a Rupert Neve board for $176,000 in 1973, and the drummer from Nirvana ended up buying that mixing board and having it shipped to his studio up north. Nirvana recorded their album at Sound City and it put them on the map, and he loved the drum sound, so he bought that board. And those Rupert Neve modules are coveted by people. The 1073 modules, the original ones made by Rupert Neve, cost $2,000 to $3,000 used for a single mic pre. And these are what high-end studios, the studios that charge $200, $300, $400 an hour, the studios that Taylor Swift uses, the studios that all the big artists use, that the Rolling Stones use to record in, have these Neve modules for the microphones. And there are modern ones. Vitas, the E27, is another good module at $1,300 for just a single mic. API makes the 3124. It's $3,000. It's 4 channels. Apollo would be the one that you would be interested in the most if you want to make a step up. My old studio partner, who owns a studio in Northern California, he has an Apollo, he has a Focusrite, he has a PreSonus, and he says the Apollo is the best of the lot. And another singer-songwriter in New York, she started with the Focusrite, she now has an Apollo, and she loves that Apollo. The Apollo is, of course, $500 to $4,000, whereas the Focusrite, as you can see here, is $100 to $200, and the PreSonus is $160. Their 4-input one is like $400 or $500. You only need to go that far if you're going to be doing like a round table, and we're going to discuss the round table separately. These take your XLR mics with a cable and connects to your computer, and then on your computer in your sound recording equipment, you select the preamp and not the internal card, not the internal Windows or the internal Macintosh setup. You choose the preamp, and that goes directly to your recording software. And these preamps are far superior to what you've got in your computer. This PreSonus will take 2 mics at the same time and send them to 2 separate channels on the Cubase or Pro Tools. And you can then modify them separately and mix them. And that way you can increase or decrease your volume or the person that you're interviewing volume. Now, if you decide to do a round table, you can get a PreSonus with far more inputs. This one here has 4 inputs, the 1810C, so you can do a round table. You can see what your signal is, This sends the 4 signals separately to the computer so that you can mix with it. And it has line outs and line ins, and it has phones. 2 headphones on this, or you can have line outs. The line outs will work to headphone amps that you can buy separately. You can get headphone amps for as little as $35. So this is what you can do if you have a round table with 4 people talking at the same time. And this is super high quality. You, of course, are going to need 4 mics, 4 pop filters or spit screens. You don't have to get the best mics for your guests. We showed you these cheap mics here. You can get them the $50 SM48. You can get them the $100 SM58. You can get them what I use, the Behringer, for $25. You can have that for your guests, and for yourself, you can get the MV7 or SM7B and get yourself a good mic. You can also get several MV7Xs. They're only $180, $200 each. $100 more than the SM58. It's a better sounding mic, and you can have these with your spring arm desk stands for your guests. And you position them, you put a cable to each of the mics, and you put that into your preamp, and then you put your preamp into your computer, and your recording software will record it. This is how you do a podcast. This is how you do a roundtable. This is our look at preamps.
And remember, in the United States, you can buy this gear through Adorama Camera, Amazon, Best Buy, BH Photo, Guitar Center, Musician's Friend, Sweetwater, Walmart, Woodwind Brasswind, or Z-Sounds.
If you found this program informative, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Here, I discuss the nuts and bolts of writing and publishing, editing, cover creation, copyrights, picking a self-publisher, making a website, putting books into stores, how to get your manuscript before agents and publishers. And I add new content all the time. So have a good writing day.